We've all dealt with it. That nagging tightness low in the back that chills up around 2 in the afternoon and just never really leaves. You shift in your chair, you stand up, stretch, sit back down. 20 minutes later, it's back. I found something a few weeks ago that's become my new secret weapon against it. It takes 10 seconds. 10! And before I show you what it is, I want you to do something for me first. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being loose as a house cat, 10 being I creak when I stand up, how tight do your hips feel right now? Today, this exact moment. Drop that number in the comments. Actually do it, don't just think it. Then try what I'm about to show you, and at the end of this video, we're going to compare notes. I want to know if your number moved. My name is Dr. Aris Thorne, and if this is your first time here, welcome to Primal Unleashed. If you've been here a while, you already know what we stand for, but I'll say it again because it matters, and because it's the entire reason this drill works when 100 other stretches haven't. Modern life makes us soft. Primal movement makes us unbreakable. We don't just lift weight on this channel, we reclaim our nature. And today, we're reclaiming something most of us lost around age 6, back when we stopped playing on the ground and started sitting in chairs for the rest of our lives. Let's talk about the club none of us signed up for. I call it the Stiff Back Club. And if you're watching this on a laptop, at a desk, in an office chair, or even on your phone slouched into a couch, congratulations, you're a member. Tell me in the comments, how many hours have you already sat today? Not slept, sat. Chair, car seat, couch, all of it added together. I'll guess most of you are somewhere between 6 and 11 hours, and it's not even dinner time yet. Here's the thing nobody tells you about that number. Your hips don't know the difference between sitting at a desk doing spreadsheets and sitting in a cave hiding from a predator for 11 hours. Your body just registers stillness, compression, a hip flexor that never gets to open back up, a lower back that's been asked to hold one position for longer than it was ever designed to. And so we do what we'd been told to do. We stretch, we touch our toes, we do the standing quad pull we learned in gym class in 2004 and never questioned again. And it helps for about 4 minutes before the tightness creeps right back in. I want to be honest with you because that's what this channel is built on. Most of the stretches you were taught are not wrong exactly, they're just incomplete. They ask a joint to move in one direction, hold it there, and call it a day. But your hips aren't hinges. They're ball and socket joints built to rotate, load, and rock through multiple planes at once, the way they did when you were a kid crawling around on all fours, and the way they did for every human before us who spent their day moving low to the ground instead of sitting 6 hours a day, 10 inches above one. So if the stretches aren't broken, but they're not working either, we need something that speaks the actual language your hips were built to understand. Something a little uncomfortable, something that looks, frankly, a little ridiculous the first time you try it. Think about the last time you watched a toddler get up off the floor. They don't stand the way we do, knees locking, one hand braced on furniture, a little wince on the way up. They drop low, load their hips, rock back onto their feet, and they're up, already running somewhere. Nobody taught them that. It's wired in. Somewhere between that stage of life and adulthood, most of us traded that wiring for a chair, and the joint patterns that used to be automatic quietly became something we now have to consciously relearn. That's not a tragedy, it's just information, and it means the fix probably isn't a brand new stretch you've never heard of. It might be a very old movement pattern you simply stopped using 20 years ago. That's where the gorilla comes in. All right, get up if you're able to. I mean that. Pause the video now and actually get on the floor with me, because this is not a drill you can absorb by watching. This is one you feel in your body in real time, or you don't get it at all. Here's the setup. Get down onto your hands and feet, not your knees, your feet, like you're about to sprint out of the blocks, except instead of fingertips on the ground, you're going to drop down onto your knuckles. Feet are wider than hip width, knees are bent low, hips sitting back and down, almost like a deep squat with your hands planted on the floor in front of you for support. Take a second and look at that position. Weight distributed between 4 points of contact, spine long, hips loaded low.
Guess in the comments why I call this the gorilla drill. I promise you, you already know the answer. You're basically doing your best impression of one right now, and that's exactly the point. Now here's the movement. From that low stance, you're going to rock. Shift your weight forward onto your hands and let your hips rise slightly, stretching through the back of the legs and the low back. Then rock back, sinking your hips low between your heels, opening up through the hip flexors and groin. Forward, back, forward, back. A slow, controlled rocking rhythm, like a pendulum finding its natural swing. 10 seconds. That's genuinely all it takes for round 1. Pause the video right now and try it. I'll wait. A couple of coaching notes while you're down there, because I want you to actually feel the difference, not just go through the motion. Keep your heels reaching toward the ground as you rock back. You don't have to touch. Most people won't at first. Just let them reach. Keep your neck relaxed. Eyes somewhere between your hands and the floor in front of you. Not craned up, not tucked down. And breathe through it. People hold their breath the first few reps because the position feels unfamiliar, and that's exactly what keeps the tightness locked in place. Exhale as you rock your hips back low. Inhale as you shift forward. If your hamstrings scream at you on the first rock back, good. That means you found the edge of your current range, which is exactly what we want. Don't force it deeper. Just keep the rhythm slow and let the range open up on its own over the next few rocks. Feel that? That's not a stretch. That's a reset. Your hip joint just moved through flexion, extension, and rotation, loaded under your own body weight, in a pattern your body recognizes on a level way deeper than conscious thought. This is the it factor that separates this from a generic gym warm-up. It's not isolating one muscle and asking it to lengthen. It's asking the entire joint system to remember how to move as a unit. The way it did when you had 8-hour workdays convinced it that stillness was the default setting. Now, why does this work better than the yoga pose you already know that looks almost identical? Fair question, and I'm not here to trash yoga. There's a lot of wisdom in that tradition, but there's a specific reason the rocking version does something a static hold cannot. When you hold a stretch still, your nervous system eventually just accepts the position. It stops sending new information. The muscle relaxes a little, sure, but the joint itself isn't learning anything new about how it's allowed to move.
When you rock through a range, instead, you're doing something different. You're giving your brain and your joint constant changing feedback about where the edges of your mobility actually are right now and today. Your nervous system briefly remembers, oh right, this joint can do this, and it lets go of some of the protective tightness it's been holding on to out of habit rather than necessity. I'll tell you honestly, I found this drill by accident during one of the worst weeks of my year. I had back-to-back long days, barely any sleep, and my lower back locked up so badly one morning I could barely tie my shoes. I got down on the floor half out of desperation, more or less mimicking how I used to move as a kid, and just started rocking through this same shape. 30 seconds in, something released. Not fully gone, but enough that I could stand up straight and get through the day. I've done some version of this every single day since, and it's become as automatic as brushing my teeth. There's another piece to this worth understanding because it changes how you think about tightness in general. A lot of what feels like a tight muscle isn't actually a muscle that's short and needs stretching. It's a nervous system that has decided, for its own protective reasons, that limiting the range at that joint keeps you safer. Maybe it's compensating for a weak stabilizer somewhere else. Maybe it's just responding to months of the same static position day after day with no variety of input. Either way, static stretching tries to convince that protective tightness to let go by holding still and waiting it out. Rocking convinces it a different way by proving through repeated controlled movement that the joint can go there and nothing bad happens. That proof is what actually gets the nervous system to loosen its grip, and it tends to happen faster than the long static hold ever could. I'd love to hear yours. What's the weird thing you stumbled onto that works better than anything a textbook ever told you to do? Tell me in the comments. This community has more collective wisdom in it than any program I could write alone, and I want to steal your secrets as much as you're stealing mine. Here's my challenge for you, and I want you to actually take it, not just nod along and forget by tomorrow. Every single time you finish a stretch of deep focused work, whether that's 45 minutes or 3 hours, get down and run this drill for 10 seconds before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you refill your coffee. 10 seconds of rocking right there on the floor next to your desk. If you want to make it stick, stack it onto something you already do without thinking.
right after you close your laptop for a break, right before you start dinner, right when you get up from the couch to grab the remote you conveniently left across the room. Tell me in the comments which part of your day is the hardest on your hips. Is it the morning commute, the mid-afternoon slump, or that dead zone right after dinner when you collapse onto the couch and don't move for 3 hours? I want to build out a version of this challenge specifically around whatever time is wrecking you the most. Let's actually do one together, right now, in real time. Get down into that low stance, hands under shoulders, knuckles or flat palms, whichever feels more stable for you. Feet wide, hips low. We're rocking forward and back. Forward and back. Keep that rhythm slow. Don't rush it just because a clock in your head is telling you 10 seconds should be over by now. Let your body set the pace, not the timer. The moment you feel your back crack or your hips loosen even a little, I want you to type "feel it" in the comments the second it happens. Don't wait until the end of the video. Type it the instant you feel that release, because I want to see this comment section fill up in real time while people are still down on their floors doing this with us. And if nothing happened on the first try, that's completely normal, and it doesn't mean the drill isn't working for you. Some bodies need 3 or 4 rounds across a day before that first release shows up. Stack it into tomorrow's routine before you decide whether it works. The people who see the biggest change are rarely the ones who nailed it on rip 1. They're the ones who kept doing it after a session that felt like nothing. Here's why this matters beyond just feeling a little looser for the next hour. Mobile hips are not a small cosmetic upgrade. They are the foundation underneath almost everything else we chase in this community. A deeper squat, a stronger deadlift, a back that doesn't complain about picking something up off the floor. Energy that doesn't crash by 3 in the afternoon because your body isn't spending half its budget fighting its own stiffness just to move normally. 10 seconds done consistently compounds into something much bigger than 10 seconds. That's true of almost anything worth doing, and it's especially true here. Think about what changes when a joint that used to fight you on every rep suddenly cooperates. A squat that used to feel like forcing your hips into a shape they didn't want to make now feels like sinking into a position your body actually recognizes. A deadlift setup that used to start with your lower back rounding because your hips couldn't hinge deep enough now starts from a position you can actually hold. Even something as unglamorous as getting out of a car after a long drive stops being a production. None of that shows up on a fitness tracker. It shows up in 100 small moments across your week that used to cost you a little pain, and now they just don't. So here's my ask. Give this a real shot for the next few days. Then come back to this video or post in the community with your before and after. What did your number feel like on day 1, and what does it feel like now? If someone below asks a question about how to modify this, maybe their wrists don't love the knuckle position. Maybe their knees need more support. I want you to be the one to answer them, not me. You. This channel works because the people in it show up for each other, and today I want that to be visible in the comments, not just something I say at the end of every video. Modern life will keep trying to make you soft. It'll keep you sitting, keep you still, keep you compressed into positions your body was never built to hold for 8 hours at a stretch. That's not a moral feeling. It's just the world we live in now. But you don't have to accept the tightness as permanent, and you don't need an hour-long routine or a stack of expensive equipment to fight back against it. 10 seconds, done consistently, compound into something much bigger than 10 seconds. That's true of almost anything worth doing, and it's especially true here. Think about what changes when a joint that used to fight you on every rep suddenly cooperates. A squat that used to feel like forcing your hips into a shape they didn't want to make now feels like sinking into a position your body actually recognizes. A deadlift setup that used to start with your lower back rounding because your hips couldn't hinge deep enough now starts from a position you can actually hold. Even something as unglamorous as getting out of the car after a long drive stops being in production. So here's my ask. Give this a real shot for the next few days. Then come back to this video or post in the community with your before and after. What did your number feel like on day 1, and what does it feel like now? If someone below asks a question about how to modify this, maybe their wrists don't love the knuckle position, maybe their knees need more support. I want you to be the one to answer them, not me. You. This channel works because the people in it show up for each other, and today I want that to be visible in the comments, not just something I say at the end of every video. Modern life will keep trying to make you soft. It'll keep you sitting, keep you still, keep you compressed into positions your body was never built to hold for 8 hours at a stretch. That's not a moral failing. It's just the world we live in now. But you don't have to accept the tightness as permanent, and you don't need an hour-long routine or a stack of expensive equipment to fight back against it. 10 seconds, done consistently, compounds into something much bigger than 10 seconds. That's true of almost anything worth doing, and it's especially true here. Hit subscribe. If your number moved even a little, tell me below. And if you want the next drill in this series, the moment it drops, you know exactly what to do. I'm Dr. Harris Thorne. Get low, get moving, and I'll see you in the next one.